I want to start this video by talking about things I said in my last video about the last issue, which I messed up. For example, I referred to a character as Earth 3's version of Vixen. I was wrong. Despite the fact that the character actually looks a lot like Vixen, she's actually revealed in this issue to be Earth 3's version of Cheetah, and is named Savannah. Well, there was also another character last issue with white hair who I presumed was Rose Wilson. But it turns out that she has fire powers, so I think she's meant to be a redesigned version of Fire from Earth 3. Which I think makes a lot more sense, seeing the fact Rose, I would say, sometimes is a hero and sometimes isn't. It makes more sense that Fire would be with the whole Justice League team of that were, well, evil Justice League team that was created by Starro. So I just wanted to get that whole, the corrections out of the way, because after realizing I messed up when I read this issue, I thought I probably should, correct myself in the beginning of this review. It starts with the origin of Starro. Kinda. It's referenced as being its origin, but it's not their origin. All it is showing us how she has easily defeated the Emerald Knights, which are Earth 3's Green Lanterns, showing just how powerful they are. As in Starro. The reason why I'm referencing Starro as a they is because there are different parts in this series where they reference Starro as a she, and other parts in the series where they reference Starro as a he. And there's other parts where they reference Starro as a they. So I'm a little bit confused over Starro's gender, because it keeps switching. We then cut to the Earth to see, our hero-ish characters? I didn't know what to call them here. I didn't know if I was meant to refer to them as heroes or villains, but they're helping out, try to save the world. Where Savannah is just there, oddly, because she's meant to be a actual superhero, despite the fact that she's with the crime syndicate, who are the villains, technically. I'm a little confused about what's the whole rules of this world is, as we'll talk about later on in the video when Alex Luthor pops up. So what they came up with is that they're going to shoot Atomica inside Starro, which just the way they phrase in this comic, I know probably they didn't mean it the way it sounds, but the way they reference it and how they reference Starro in this moment as a she makes it come across like Atomica is being shot up in a certain section of Starro that no one wants to think about. Anyways, Owlman instructs the team to what to do, because he's partly taken on the idea of being a leader, which Ultraman clearly does not like, but still listens to him because Owlman, of course, is smarter than him. He tells Superwoman to keep an eye on Emerald Knight, thinking he's their best chance to beat Starro. And then Alex Luthor enters this fight, and we establish that he and Ultraman apparently have a public feud. And Ultraman denies his help and throws him into a Starro tentacle, but it doesn't kill Alex. Ultraman also disses Owlman's plan, which is working. I'm not too sure why Ultraman is seemingly so upset that Owlman is leading the group, because he's following his orders, but yet again is still trash-talking Owlman and his plan. Yet the fact that Ultraman's plan issue 1 did not work, and Owlman's plan seemingly is, but Ultraman just wants to be salty about it, I guess. Ultraman and Emerald Knight end up flying into the Queen Starro to create a weak spot. Her response is to emotionally attack all metahumans, leaving only Alex, Owlman, and Savannah still up. But then how did Savannah last issue display powers? So is she not a metahuman? I'm a little bit confused by that too, because you could say that, her powers come from magic, like Cheetah does, but Superwoman and Ultraman aren't technically metahumans either, and they're also being infected by this. Not infected, but affected. I said infected, like a virus. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but that's not what they're trying to go for. Superwoman fights a psychic attack due to her pushing all of her emotions down. She flies upwards to bring the final blow to Starro, killing it. Not before we see all the metahumans, which includes Deathstorm, who needs more to do, because I love Deathstorm. After it's all over, Alex complains about how they could have saved so many more people if they just wait a little longer, as Starro's dead body falls in Metropolis, killing a lot of people. Ultraman tries to take credit for it, Despite the fact it was Superwoman who did it and it was Owlman's plan, Ultraman didn't do crap. This comic ends with a flashback to 1945 of Superwoman growing up. And one day, a man named Steve Trevor showed up on the shore, who is, Steve Trevor from our world, but this world he's a little bit different. He pretended to fall in love with her, just like I was going to say just like Earth Zero, but Steve on that Earth actually loves Diana. But on this Earth, he only pretends to fall in love with her, just so he could just get close to the Queen, and practically order her to send troops to help the war. But when Donna figures it out, it leaves her heartbroken and she kills him reluctantly, which is the reason why Starro's emotional attack didn't work on her. It's because she buries her emotions since then and feels like she can't show who she really is. I really like this part because it shows the more of the darkness qualities of Superwoman, because I like Superwoman. I think she's a great villain, and I just like the idea of attempting to make her an anti-hero. Now, like last issue, the best characters are by far Superwoman and Owlman. Superwoman is probably the best case of the whole killing all men I've ever seen. We've recently covered the character Crystal Frost, whose whole famous angle of killing all men because men are bad doesn't really, work, because the reason why she wants to kill all men is because Martin rejected her, but he was married, and the fact that her instinct was to then want to kill all men is really odd. But here, Superwoman has never met a man till Steve, and he was her first impression of what a man was. So when Steve betrayed her and emotionally manipulated her and tricked her, she genuinely thought that this was like what all men were. And it doesn't help that Ultraman's constantly belittling her by trying to take credit for her work. So I think you can actually understand why Superwoman has this kind of how Superwoman views the world. Even if her views are obviously not right, as not every guy is a jerk, but due to the fact that the only men she really ever encountered was Steve, Ultraman, and President Oliver Queen, she genuinely doesn't know any guy who isn't a jerk. So it makes sense that her impression of men would be that they are not great people. Although last issue she did leave a bunch of women to die from a space station after fighting Ultraman. So I would say she's not really one to talk either, but you still understand her idea of the whole concept of her, what her impressions are. Even if you don't agree with it, which I don't think a lot of people do, you still understand where she's coming from when you see what her impression of men are. It's not saying that men are bad, it's saying that her impression of men is that they are bad. Meanwhile, Owlman, on the other hand, really feels like they're playing with this whole mystery that is Batman. But what if that mystery was misleading? That this legend isn't there to save you, but for spreading the awareness of his, legend. And that his plan in the issue really worked out. As I feel like I said, Ultraman's plan, issue 1, did not work out for obvious reasons. Owlman is very smart and very intelligent, and I think he is very much like Batman, which is obvious because, he's not actually Batman. He's Batman's brother in this universe. He's Thomas Wayne Jr. Bruce Wayne in Earth 3's version of Bruce Wayne died. Similar how Donna Troy is Superwoman here, not Diana Prince. Anyways, Owlman, I think, comes across as very not only intelligent, but very dangerous, and just made you think about what would happen if Batman was the bad guy. Because you never really think about that. You always think, well, if Superman was evil, like, how do you take him out? How do you kill him? How do you take care of him? But I think a lot of people usually think that Batman is just human, so there's no real danger. But in reality, Owlman presents just how just dangerous a evil Batman could be. Meanwhile, Ultraman came across, to me at least, as very unlikable and like a discount Homelander from Wish. He acts like a child when he doesn't get his way, with either him not being the hero or it's him not being the leader. It's just very bratty, which may be what they're going for, but it's not done in a compelling way. It's done in a nails-on-chalkboard way. Alex, too. I thought he came across from being very childish when it came to his and Ultraman's argument, trying to make that whole end of the world about them when we haven't really seen anything about their relationship yet. Therefore, it's just really annoying, and it feels like they're both very selfish. Even if we're meant to think, oh, Alex is a good person, unlike Ultraman, Alex to me came across very selfish too. And he just comes across as a discount Billy Butcher, but without the colorful commentary that makes Butcher great. It's unfortunate because both Alex and Ultraman did exist in comics way before Homelander and Butcher, but because of the popularity of the Boys TV show, this comic is attempting to duplicate that with these characters. But in my opinion, while it works with Superwoman and Owlman because they're not Black Noir and Queen Maeve, they are their own characters, Ultraman and Alex are very clear attempts to copy Homelander and Butcher, but very poorly. And while I like their quips, Emerald Knight and Emerald Knight's banter with his ring, Johnny Quick and Emerald Knight didn't really add anything to the story. The plan really only needed Superwoman and Owlman to work. And Atomica and Savannah, on the other hand, had really nothing to do. While I thought some of their lines were cool, they themselves did really nothing. I am happy though that Starro is finally gone. I was getting sick and tired of Starro. I used to love Starro, but as of lately, he is literally everywhere. From Injustice 2 comics to this comic, the Suicide Squad movie, to just literally everywhere. And I just think that they're dealing with some burnout since the concept of Starro invading Earth can only be done so many times and so different from each other. In my opinion, this isn't one of those times where I think it comes across very unique. Instead, Starro here comes across very just generic and average. Although I understand the reason is probably because of the Justice League fighting Starro was the first villain they ever fought. So they're trying to duplicate that with Crime Syndicate having Starro be the first villain they ever fought. But it just doesn't work, and it kind of takes away from the story itself. And I feel like it would have been better if we saw more of Owlman's mystery, Superwoman's origin, and maybe we could actually have seen Alex and Ultraman's public feud instead of the constant decision to just sideline all that and have just quick panels and quick mentions of things that I think would be a lot more interesting to see, and just so we could have Starro attack Metropolis. And it's just really annoying. Although I will say that the end of how Starro was defeated and how it ended with so many people dying, that was a surprise to me, as most often the Justice League would figure it out and save everybody. But Ultraman, Superwoman, and the others did not care for how many casualties there were. They just cared about killing Starro. So I thought that right there was a nice touch. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.